Hello, it's Crissy with Bird's Nest Gifts and Antiques. We are going to be working on this little birdhouse. I got this birdhouse yesterday. My aunt actually found it, brought it into the shop, and it was actually sponge painted. The green parts were sponge painted, and it was awful. So I decided if anything needs made over, it's this little birdhouse. And I'm going to be using IOD molds to do that. And we are happy for you to be joining us today to do this little birdhouse craft. So it's getting closer to spring, and I just thought it would be a fun craft to do. The products that we use the IOD Lock and Key Mold. I love this mold. Now I haven't got to use it a lot, but super cute for like dressing up a door, adding just a little embellishment. And I thought this one would be perfect for my birdhouse. IOD frames mold comes with all of these cool frames. I'm gonna be using this largest frame, and we use the IOD air dry clay, and you can find all of those products with your local stockist. And I think we'll just get started. So my plan is to dress up the sides. You can kind of see through it. Y'all, there was a little painted stained glass window there. It was pretty awful. So my idea is that we're gonna do a frame and then one of the locking keys in the middle to kind of resemble a window, but just to dress up the sides. And then we're really gonna dress up the front too. I gave it a quick coat of green paint, but it was just one coat. So I'm gonna put molds over most of it, so I'm not planning on, I'll put another coat after I put the mold on. I'll start with the frames one. If you've never used molds before, they are made of silicone, and they are food grade actually. They do say that you should use one for your crafting and one for your food, but they are kind of bendy, rubbery, and they are very detailed. What I like to do is take cornstarch before I do my casting and dust the mold, and that just makes it so that it pops out a little bit easier. And so I just I'm using a really soft paintbrush to dust this around. I've also used makeup brushes, but yeah, just an old paintbrush will work fine. So I'm just gonna dust that one, and then we'll get out our clay. So I do know that you can buy, like if you don't run across, like this one is a vintage birdhouse, but if you're not going to, if you don't run across an old birdhouse like this, you can always find them kind of unfinished at craft stores. So I have seen them at Hobby Lobby, I've seen them at Michael's, and for a pretty reasonable price.
Why don't you mention about how you store that clay?
So we store the clay in Ziploc bags, and we actually double bag it. So whenever I put it in the little bag, whenever I'm done, I will squeeze all the air out, and then I'll put it in another bag too. And then the clay that I was working with earlier was kind of hard. It was firming up while I was working on it, because I had it out for quite a while. So before I put it in the bag, I got my hands wet, and I kind of got the clay a little wet, thinking that, you know, storing it a little bit wetter would help too. And then to get it ready to work with, you warm it up in your hands. I also had the clay in my car last night, and with our cold weather, it was, I did have to warm it up. I was doing this earlier, where I kind of just make sure it's all in there and it's all flat on the back with this little like tongue depressor stick. And I am going to turn it over, and I'm going to kind of peel back the mold on top, and it should just fall right out. There we go. And it's coming right out. So here's how pretty that mold looks. I just love this. All right, so I'm gonna set this aside to dry. Then I'm gonna go to the lock and key mold. And I wanna get all my castings done before I start gluing them on. So that's why I'm just setting them to the side. But now we can kind of decide what we want to go on the front in a minute. I'm actually gonna do one to go in the middle of that frame on the other side. And I think I like this one because it's the biggest. I'm gonna do like the same thing, just work the clay down in there, peel off the excess, put it back in your big pile, and then just get it nice and smooth on the back. And I kind of do it with my fingernail, but you can do it with a tool. So the cool thing about molds, if you haven't used them before, oh, I forgot to dust this one, and look, it came out just fine, is that they are moldable. So whenever you get done, I mean, you can apply them while they're wet to something rounded. I'm gonna use this can as an example, and just form them right to the can, right to the rounded surface, and they'll dry like that. So the ideas are endless with these little molds. You could even do this one on a corner of something. You could do it on furniture. You could do jewelry with these. There's a lot of little smaller, like see that key with that one. You could do jewelry with maybe not the air dry clay. Maybe you would use, but we fixed it right up. Use my powder?
Yep, use your powder, especially on those little ones.
That cornstarch. I was trying to decide which one. Okay. So for our front, I kind of made the hole in the middle a little bit bigger.
Oh, that's cute.
And look how cute it fits on there. But whenever I picked it up, my end popped off. So I'm just gonna glue that on there too. But how cute is that? I'm gonna try this one. And you know what? I think I'm gonna try to cut it in half whenever I'm done. Because it's so thin, I'm gonna try this one because I think it will fit nicely in these little areas here.
We've got Kathy from Mississippi.
I'm gonna dump out the extra.
Welcome.
So, I think I want to put this, just a little decoration on either side of the door.
Almost like shrubbery.
Yes, little shrubs, but I'm going to cut it in half.
Do you want a knife?
I'm going to use this.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is just cut the lock out of the middle, or the keyhole, and then now I've got two little matching dillies. All right, I'm going to set these to the side. Let's do this one. And then I'm going to start gluing these on.
Did you use your cornstarch?
Yes, I had already dusted this one.
All right, just checking.
And could you imagine how cute these would be? Like, because like I said, you could use it for food. How pretty these would be, like, I don't know, cupcake topper decoration. So I'm gonna start gluing them on. The glue that I'm using is Gorilla Wood Glue. You can also use, I've heard lots of great things about the Type Bond. This is just what I had. And we're gonna just, slide it on there. I kind of had to put it up underneath the eave of this little house.
Oh, that's really cute.
Now I'm going to do the little ones that I cut in half that we decided kind of looked like little shrubberies. And I'm just going to put them on either side of the door to dress that up. And a little bit more country than we are. There we go. Now what I'm going to do is once I get these on, I'm going to wait for them to dry. So once it dries, I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna paint all of the molds and everything green. So you can see that I have the molds on there and I've already painted them green. And then once I painted them the same green that it was painted, I came back with a watered down white paint and I just watered it down to make it a little more runny. And I'm gonna do a wash on this. And you brush it all over. So what it's looking like kind of now is that I kind of started with a wash. You want to get it down into the cracks.
Right.
And then we're gonna wipe off, and then we're going to wipe off the excess. And when you do that, your green is going to show up. And this mold I did earlier in the day. So it's not dried completely, it's dried more. So I can kind of use some pressure whenever wiping this off. So I've added some water to try to remove some more. So I always wipe back first with a dry cloth. If that removes enough for me, then I'm good to go. But if it doesn't, then you get your towel wet and come back and wipe off more. And that is how you do a wash. Now you can do that kind of wash on anything. I mean, on a piece of furniture. The idea of it is that the paint just kind of sticks wherever it wants to. And it just gives it a really pretty antiqued look. And it doesn't have to be a white wash. So this can be a colored wash. It kind of gives the look of antiquing, or if you've used white wax before, it kind of gives that same look, but you can kind of build on it. So you can actually do more than just one coat. Now I'm coming back with a dry towel again. So now it's not just all green, and that wash has really made those molds pop. I really wanted to try to work with the stripes because I thought they were kind of whimsical and fun and springy, so I wanted to work with them. So what I just did there, I just took clear wax. So this was what it was already painted. It was probably painted 20, 30 years ago, but I wanted to kind of darken it up to make it look aged. So I added clear wax first. That's to protect my paint underneath, because if I end up hating the dark wax, I'll be able to take it off. Yes, Susan, the clay is super easy. It does dry fairly quickly. So now I'm gonna add the dark wax, and that's gonna darken up that white and just kind of make it a little bit more antique-y.
For sure.
Oh, it looks so cute. Okay, so adding on that dark wax, you can kind of see what it's gonna look like. This is the one that we did today. I've been kind of moving it around and squishing it. This is the one with the wash on it. I think that may tie the two together.
Yeah.
I always take cute little glamour shots of our projects whenever we're done. I hope y'all enjoyed this. Thank you for joining me at home on our freezy snow day with no snow in Texas. Thank y'all. Have a great day.